Hi, this is KeatonCart89 with the review of the first of Storm Collectibles' new Storm Arena 1/12 scale. And this is the Street Fighter Zero, or Street Fighter Alpha in the Western Territories, Ken Masters. Let's take a look. Just to start this video off, this was actually in the box with the Storm Arena Ken figure. It's just basically a little plastic stand featuring the branding for the new line. I'm sure if you actually put it in one of those light up LED things, you can actually properly light the logo as well. So that's a nice little thing to find, nice little surprise. So let's get on with the figure. So having a look at the packaging, it's obviously branded as Street Fighter Zero. It's a smaller form-fitting box than their Storm knockoff, I will say, up from the last video, the Zangief, which is clearly smaller than the original it's intended on, but this is at 1/12 scale, and in the line of something more akin would be, let me bring this in very quickly, the Jada Ken Masters. This is the US exclusive white Ken, or player 2 white Ken, that I've also got in my collection. I keep all my figures mainly boxed, but as a comparison in size, I will say I do prefer the Jada in form fitting and overall busy packaging. I do find that the back of the Street Fighter Ken is just too busy for my liking. A little bit of space between the actual shots, or a larger shot with a few smaller poses along the feet maybe would have been better. It's just a little bit too busy on the box. The Storm logo, of course, and the first new line. I will point out that this kind of would have been nice to have as a background, maybe along the line, if you could want to maybe have it like that and stack it sideways if you're not going to display it fully or keep your boxes. So again, on the top, Street Fighter 03, and then the health bar along the bottom and the level. And we'll take the figure out of its packaging and look what we get. Right, out of its packaging, it comes with the little diorama, which is quite nice in all its arcade glory. Ken relaxing by the pool. The stand with the waist grab and a little bit of a clip in to elevate the figure, and the figure in its clamshell. I will say, for retail purposes, if this was in a store, I really wouldn't like this plastic overlay. I understand that Storm like to protect their figures, that's fine, from paint rub, that's great, but it doesn't really lend itself to for retail. I would prefer just a clamshell over the top without the film underneath covering the figure. So this is what it comes with. It comes with the ponytail head in the cocky smile face. 3 sets of hands, 2 on the figure, relaxed victory pose, and the come get some hand. And you also get your Hadouken hand and the fireball, or excuse me, the fire punch effect. So we'll get it out of all packaging and we'll take a look at posing the figure. And there we have him, Street Fighter Storm Arena Ken. I've done the Van Damme as their first out of box posing. The figure is my first ever real legitimate Storm collectibles figure, and certainly obviously the first issue Storm Arena. I found the figure small, but I'm used to more 1/6 figures. So this is my first real 1/12 unboxing as well. As I said, I usually leave all my Jada Street Fighter figures and figures in 1/12 all in box. So I'm taking this out for the purpose of review, although I was hesitant and I'd kind of really like to leave him in his box. But we'll get him out. I found the figure very easy to pose. There was resistance to the joints, as any brand new figure should have. Nothing was loose. And yes, you know, the compared to Jada, I've seen reviews of other figures from Jada. The figure flexibility is there, and there he is in his Van Damme. So we'll start moving around, do a pause, and tell you my further thoughts on this figure. So here we have a close-up on Ken's face out of the packaging, and you can clearly see the anime influence from Street Fighter Alpha 3 or Street Fighter 03. And I just want to point out there's a lovely dark wash, a really used look to this gear, not only with the fraying of the shoulders, but just the added detail of like a dark coloration that you can see there. That's really well done, showing the hair and a little bit of dark colouring to the hair too. It's not obviously the fully straw yellow that it is. There is some detailing there, which is nice to see. And as I turn it, you can see the musculature of the arms, pivotable at the shoulder and bicep, and down onto the forearms. And again, you can just see as it cuts across, you can see that dark shading. And now we'll get a better look at some freestanding. Right, we'll start with this one. This is my homage to Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Arnold pose from his bodybuilding days. But it just illustrates the pivoting toes. You can twist at the ankle as well, or at the, you know, from in underneath the edges of the gi. And you can pivot the foot. Everybody knows, you know, you've got a ball for rocker and everything. But the actual figure's balance is really well done. And as you can see, the cut into the shoulder, you've got butterflies on there. There's no added weight on this figure. He's a lean, mean fighting machine for sure. And I'm really impressed with the amount of sort of rigidity to it. Obviously it's a new figure, but the quality is clearly there. It's not something you're going to feel in your hand and go, right, oh, this is cheap. It's not. It feels a good quality, really good quality, and I'm very impressed with Storm Arena with their opening salvo here. Ken Masters is one of my favourite fighters of all time, so as soon as I saw it, I had to have it. As you saw, I have the white Ken exclusive from Jada. I've shopped around and got the Violent Ken and everything else, so we'll do those in a future video. But that's the first pose, and we'll see what we get. Right, I thought this was a fun way to illustrate the hand options that you get. Here's victory pose and the come here taunt. Well, we put them in a bit of a Batusi and a little bit of an I see you or love heart pose or half heart. But again, it just gives me a chance to show off the detail in the gi and a bit of that shading, as I said. The length of the ponytail and the ribbon and the butterfly you can see there, and all the muscular and muscle texture and sinew on the figure. The knees, I'm not a fan of this much openness on the joints, but you know, I'm used to 1/6 really, so you know, mostly are hidden by real fabric costumes. There's fraying again, all the shading is all the way down, and the detail on the feet you can see there with the posable toes. But really, really, really an impressive figure. And let's just have a look at the fireball effect. So here it is with the fire effect. I've just gone for the cocky smile head because he's showing off that he actually has enough flexibility by dropping the leg to actually grab his own foot. Now the hands are really quite soft and maneuverable, so you can open the palm slightly to grab the toes, but This is just illustrating the drop down hip posability, that he can actually grab his own foot. And that lovely sarcastic smile of Ken. I'll just show you how it clips onto the hand with the fire effect. Really no complaints with this figure at all. This is a really good quality figure, and I do urge anyone who wants to start collecting the Storm Arena line to grab this as soon as you see it. Don't wait, don't hesitate. Storm, from my understanding, once they sell out, they are gone. So get it first rather than missing out. So let's give final thoughts. So what are my final thoughts? Just giving final thoughts, of course, it's a win. This is an essential Street Fighter figure and a great start from Storm Arena. I really am on board. I've pre-ordered the Street Fighter Alpha 3 Ryu and also the Sagat figure. So I'm all in on this line. Does it mean it's going to replace my Jada figures? No, not at all. I'll collect both lines. Jada I will always keep boxed. I think mostly I would say I'm going to keep my Storm Arenas boxed as well. But I just had to get this out and have a look at this figure to see what Storm Arena was all about. And it is a win. Hold your head high, Ken. You did it, buddy. Well done, Storm Collectibles, with your new Storm Arena line. And I do look forward to it. If you want a figure rating for this figure, I'd give this an easy 10 out of 10 if you're a Storm Collectibles collector, an essential, and maybe a 9.5. The only one problem I had, and maybe it would be a 10 if I was used to them more, is the pegs on the hands are not as tight or snap-on as I'm used to. They just seem to be held with friction. And again, that might be just my not being used to them, so I will downgrade it half a point for that. But other than that, once I get used to them, it will of course be nudged up to a 10. Victory. You win, Ken. You win. Thanks for watching. Please kindly like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.